Hey friends. I I had a moment this morning where something came through to me that felt really good. I so I'm gonna give you kind of a bit of backstory and then I'll get to the point. But I several years ago, I mean 13 years ago probably. It was a while. I was living in London at the time. I wrote something about it was kind of like a I mean it was a bizarre thing because I wrote something that on the surface of things would have looked like a sort of empowerment letter, like a letter of my vision of a future life that I'm trying to manifest or something like that. But I wrote it almost ironically because I was almost kind of like making fun of my own hyperbolic expectations. And it wasn't intended to be shared with anyone. I was just writing this in my journal. But then at some point, I had the urge to share this with my wife, who at the time we weren't dating, we were just friends, we were roommates. But I had the urge to share this with her because we were having some kind of deep, profound, totally platonic conversation that was how it all started between us. And I read it to her, and I was almost like reading it in this way that was like, isn't this ridiculous? Isn't it so ridiculous that I would expect this could happen? It was like I was going to manifest all this abundance and while only doing things that remained totally true to my own core purpose, my own core desires, I would manifest everything I could possibly need. And she didn't take it ironically. She was like, she assumed that I wrote this from a genuine place. And that's when it struck me that I didn't believe my own visions. In other words, I felt deep inside that a certain kind of life, a certain kind of freedom, a certain kind of abundance, a certain kind of ecstatic living was possible. But I could only express that. I couldn't really express that. I could only express it while at the same time sort of undermining it by either making fun of it or laughing at it, thinking it was ridiculous. And I have sat with that particular, that memory of that kind of sequence for a long time because it was a big deal for me to realize, wow, like I full on wrote down my vision and then pretended like it was silly. And earlier today, I had a moment where I felt like I was coming back into contact with that deep reality of a vision that's genuinely hooked into my deepest core. And I was like, oh yeah, of course I can do this. In the way that you might think that or say that when you'd been dismissing an idea for a long time. And I realized in myself, I was like, oh man, yeah, I still dismiss my own vision. I still have a tendency to see what is most compelling, most beautiful, most inspiring, and to somehow believe either it's not enough, or I'll never get it, or I can approach it, but I can't really have it. And so I'm just kind of sitting with that. I'm just kind of clocking that. Because it's kind of scary to realize that. It's kind of scary to see yourself batting away what you most deeply desire. Not a nice thing to feel. And it's really exciting to feel like something woke up in me and I was like, wow, oh wait, what? This is right here. Because at the end of the day, it's like I want more than anything to live my life consciously. To do things, to commit to things, to invest my time, my energy, my intelligence into things that are worthwhile. Things that I will look back on and go, that was a good life. If I could go back, I wouldn't change how I spent my time. And wouldn't that be a nice thing to feel at the end of life, like on our deathbed, to be able to look back and say, wouldn't change anything. I can hardly think of a more worthy goal to live every day, a more worthy purpose. Because what else are we doing? Right? Like what's behind our other goals? So it was a nice feeling. And it sort of gave me a little boost and helped me wrestle with some of the stuff I've been wrestling with. Some of the questions of what's next, where to, how to create this abundance. Because I think if I've done one thing well over the last few months, it's not leap for things and not grab hold of things prematurely. Sometimes it feels like, I don't want to be the guy who, like, God sends a boat, like a truck, a boat, and a helicopter, right? I don't want to be the guy who's like, no, God will save me. There's something greater. But I don't think that's what I'm doing. I think what I'm doing is waiting for the compulsion to arise. And then this morning I felt it arise. And it felt good. And then I spent most of the day recording a song again. Pretty great life. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I will see you soon.